any other country acted around the world like we do,
if any other country acted around the world like we do, Susanna,
Mm-hmm.
if any other country acted around the world like we do, okay? So he's talking about United States being in Syria and having no business being there, okay?
Oh.
What is it? What was this other country that we just talked about that was in Syria outside of its borders?
I think I might start with an I and end with an N. Could it be Iran?
I think you might be right.
Maybe a major stake in a Shia imperialist project?
Oh my God.
It could be.
And Kyle, Iran. Are you going to criticize? Have you ever criticized Iran for being involved like this outside of its borders?
Have you ever looked on a map where Hezbollah is active? The answers may surprise you.
This is like, he is like pro-Islamic Republic. He pretends like he's not. He always like, yeah, they're bad. But can you blame them? Like, dude, they're building a freaking empire in the region outside of their borders against the wishes of the citizens.
Don't they even have militias or backing of groups in Nigeria?
They keep saying like, and he keeps saying like it's a sovereign nation. It's like Assad, blah blah blah. Dude, the Syrian citizens, they don't want Assad. Okay,
they want sovereignty. They want their sovereignty.
They were begging Americans to come save them from Assad. They want independence from Assad, and oh my God, and right now the current government in Iraq is divided. Like, United States is in Iraq with the permission of the current government. Okay, so that's the Americans in us. I'm not saying it's justified, but that's the current government of Iraq. In Syria, the current government doesn't really represent the goddamn people. Okay, so if you want to talk about Syria, are you talking about the current Syrian government, which is like a joke? Like, it's semi close to a failed state right now. I mean, Assad is still going to survive, it seems. But are you talking about the Syrian people? Because it's not that simple. It's not that simple, right? But again, if you have these standards for United States being active outside of its borders, maybe also look at what Iran is doing. Because what Iran is doing outside of its borders is against the wishes of the Syrian people, of the Iraqi people, and guess what? Of the Iranian people. When it comes to empire building and meddling where you have no business meddling in, the Iranian government is way more guilty of that right now than the American government. And there needs to be a pushback against that. Yeah. Yes, the way United States has been pushing back against that has not been good. It needs to be more of an international pushback. United States needs to do this with other international actors, going to the United Nations and plus other stuff like that. But what Iran does with its dominance is major human rights violations. There needs to be a response to that, and United States needs to be leading that as the world's major superpower. It shouldn't do it by its own. It should do that with cooperation with other countries. But there needs to be a response to that. If you let Iran take over, have you seen what Shia militias do to Sunni civilians? When they take over a village? You can't just let them come and take over. There needs to be a pushback against that. Anyways, let's continue.
You would immediately call for regime change in that country.
Oh, yeah. No, that point did need to be made about like we haven't even really touched on that, like what they do when they're there.
Yes, by the way, a lot of people think like when we're saying the United States needs to push back, that we're endorsing the way they have been pushing back so far. Like, people keep bringing back to us the takes like, oh my God, but United States did this and United States did that. Yeah, a lot of times we have mentioned them on this show, and we have said that United States has been responsible for a lot of human rights abuses. especially when it comes to their support for Saudi Arabia and the bombing of Yemeni civilians. We have been calling that out, but we're not saying like, oh, if we are against the people who are for no intervention, that doesn't mean we are endorsing the interventions that the United States has been doing so far. A lot of it has been horrible. A lot of United States intervention has been responsible for the greatest human rights abuses of our time at a massive scale. So a lot of bad intervention so far. A lot of people are in response to that are asking for no intervention. We're on the side of good intervention, smart intervention.
For example, the assassination of Soleimani.
Yes, that was fantastic. Again, one of the few things that the Trump administration did right. Anyway, and also taking out a Fakhrizadeh by Mossad.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
They have a rogue government that doesn't abide by international law. But when we do it, it's called a random Tuesday. You know?
What?
Unacceptable.
It's when we do it, it's random Tuesday, and nobody else does it except every other country that can do it does it. Every other country that can intervene outside of its borders does outside of its borders because they know it's in the best interest of securing their trade routes and securing their interests internationally. Every country that can intervene outside of its borders intervenes outside of its borders.
And 22 people killed. Could easily be civilians, women and children. We don't know. We don't know. But to be this willy-nilly with airstrikes is unacceptable. And this is the same kind of stuff.
Willy-nilly. Willy-nilly. Americans were attacked, Kyle. Americans were attacked. What do you think the response should have been?
Stuff like Trump increased.
So he's assuming that it is women and children when we have no evidence of that?
Yeah.
To my knowledge.
Yeah, maybe some evidence will come out and we're going to be wrong about this, but so far, I don't think there has been any.
I know, that's the thing. Shouldn't we wait for
that?
It
was been malicious. It was malicious, Kyle!
Drone strikes over 400%. Civilian deaths were also increased. He kept us in Iraq. He kept us in Afghanistan.
Who are we talking about? We're talking about Trump now?
Drone strikes over 400%.
Oh, wait. I think we're talking about Obama now.
Acceptable. And this is the same kind of stuff. Like Trump increased drone strikes over 400%.
We went to Trump now.
Civilian deaths were also increased. He kept us in Iraq. He kept us in Afghanistan. He escalated with Iran. What you have with Biden here is a continuation of the Trump policies.
Oh, my God.
And I'm sorry, but I have no respect and no patience for anybody who is willing to overlook this stuff simply because it's Biden doing it. It's like the whole kids in cages thing. You go read the way this was.
Look at this. This is like word for word what Paul Joseph Watson was saying.
It actually is, though.
Like horseshoe theory
They've touched on the same points. Holy shit.
This is horseshoe theory confirmed.
It was talked about when Trump was president, and it was very clear. Kids in cages, unacceptable. You read about it under the Biden administration, and the same media outlets are saying stuff along the lines of a temporary child detention facility, and they have pictures that show like balloons.
You know what? I haven't looked into this, but I'm almost sure that if I looked into this when it comes to Biden, it's a lot more nuanced than what he's presenting here.
I have a little bit more knowledge on this. It is more nuanced, but
it's way more nuanced. Yeah, but
I mean, everything's not kosher, but it is more nuanced. But I mean, I do think it is fair to criticize the media for treating these two administrations differently, although these actions are not completely comparable. Like, I would agree with both of the, content makers we've reviewed on that. Because I do see a lot of that nonsense from mainstream media.
Yeah.
And
but again, mainstream media is such an umbrella term. There's a lot of good reporters and like mainstream media, like, oh, mainstream media is so bad. Like,
a lot of that kind of nonsense comes from the editors anyways.
No, but I'm just saying mainstream media is like, it's such an umbrella term. There's so many good and so many bad people, reporters, presenters in mainstream media. Like, anybody who wants to criticize all mainstream media as bad or good is just like, yeah, sure. Okay.
And paintings on the wall, and they try to spin it as if it's more positive now, as if it's, what are we gonna do? We have to do this. We have no choice. So the way that they play with language, the way that they flip the standard is totally unacceptable. And this is one where everybody needs to line up against them. And, I need to see more resistance from the Democratic base and elected representatives on stuff like this. They're already pushing back on the minimum wage stuff. Good. But you got it. Like Ro Khan is out there talking about this, but very few people are really talking about this. It's almost like the bipartisan consensus is rampant imperialism.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. It's not.
Americans are attacked. Your president responds, rabid imperialism. Sure.
And that's
pushing
unacceptable.
pushing back on Iran's imperialism is imperialism.
Yes. Anything short of bending over and letting Iran enter you from the back is imperialism.
And homophobic.
Hey, homophobic. How do you know Iran could be male and United States could be female? Not all form of anal sex is gay. You're being homophobic.
No, I mean, I think of the United States as Uncle Sam, personified by Uncle Sam.
Okay, well, maybe Iran is a girl and she's wearing a strap-on.
How progressive.
Yeah, see? It's not homophobic. It's very progressive. Don't shame countries.
Definitely haram.
As long as it's consensual, countries can have sex with it. Anyways, let's continue.
That's not okay. That's not okay. And, come to find out, oftentimes this has a lot to do with the fact that it's Republicans and Democrats who take money from the military-industrial complex. Raytheon, Boeing, Honeywell, I mean, you name it. And, Biden's, what's his name? I'm forgetting his name. Is it Lloyd Austin or something like that? Biden's Secretary of Defense, who just took over $1 million from Raytheon. He was sitting on the board of Raytheon, and now he's the Secretary of Defense. Well, what the fuck do you think is going to happen? They're going to want to do strikes like this. They're going to want to be incredibly interventionist and imperialist in their foreign policy and neocon warhawks. That's what we're seeing here. So,
I really wish I could ask him, like, what do you think? Like, okay, yeah, sure. You should have never went to Iraq, blah, 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 blah. Hindsight, 2020, all that. Now you're there. American is attacked. What do you think should, like, if you were president, what would you do? Like, I want to, like,
first price, bro. I fixed it.
Like, what?
He told us in the beginning.
No, okay,
His idea is just not be there.
Okay, no, but I'm gonna tell him, like, okay, fine. You shouldn't have been there to begin with, okay? But you're president, you haven't had a chance to pull the troops out yet, and they attacked Americans. What are you gonna do? Like, you're just gonna be like, but like you're gonna do nothing? Like, I really wish I could ask him, like, what would you do? While you're there. Oh my God.
Acceptable, and I think everybody would agree it's unacceptable if it was Trump doing it.
Oh my God.
Now Biden's doing it, and a lot of people are going back to sleep. I have seen on Twitter, it was infuriating seeing how some people talked about this, like,
Twitter. Remember Twitter, Susie?
Oh, don't remind me.
This is what an adult airstrike looks like.
Okay.
I trust Biden's judgment, so I know that he's actually picking the right targets, and I can.
Who does?
Everyone is talking about the same tweet by this, like, Amy person.
One tweet, yes.
It was a really dumb tweet.
Yeah, is she like someone famous?
Talking about.
Yeah.
Let me try to look it up.
This is the same tweet that Paul Joseph Watson just brought up.
It is.
Like, they're referring to the same goddamn one tweet.
Amy Siskind. Amy Siskind is an American activist and writer. She's the author of A List, a week of by-week reckoning of Trump's first year, and organizer of We the People's March.
How many followers?
She's like a resistance liberal.
Okay, how many followers she has?
500,000.
Whoa. Okay. All right. Fair enough then.
Relax, and I have my weekends back now. Oh my God.
I mean, yeah, that was stupid.
It can literally.
What?
I mean, him going like, "Oh my God!" Like, yeah, that was really, yeah.
Yeah, that was a dumb take.
be the exact same policy as Trump, but when Biden does it, people will be like, "Yeah."
I mean, that's a fair point, but it doesn't apply here.
He's reasonable, so I guess it makes sense.
I mean, you know what? I think like I am more more happy with Biden's picks than Biden himself. I like now, like based on what's going so far. Again, things can change. Okay, things can change, and we could be like, "Oh my God, it's horrible! Like, what did they do?" But right now, I just went like, "Okay, Biden, thank you for the picks. It seems like you have picked some good people. Not all of them, but a lot of them seem to be really good. Just now, go home and shut up. Let your cabinet take care of it." Like, I just feel like because every time he opens his mouth, he's saying things that are like is gonna make his cabinet a lot harder to respond to it. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I just think he's like he was not like this before. I think he's just getting old because he was like, if you look at how he talked and how he debated before, man was really sharp, right? He was like a master debater, and he was like, whether you agree with him or not, he was really good at bringing up points and counterpoints, even if you disagree with them. Like he keeps wandering off after, like, every time you ask him a question, he starts responding to it for 10 seconds and then he wanders off to something else.
The acuity isn't there.
Yeah, but it's not his fault. Like, man is old. Anyways.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. These people were not some sort of direct imminent threat. If you're afraid of attacks against our...
They weren't an imminent threat. They already attacked. They already... Like, oh yeah, they're not imminent threat anymore after they already attacked American citizens. Like, they already attacked. By the way, he's so wrong because they have been continuing to attack Americans after this.
As of last night, 2 days before 2 days before the Pope is supposed to arrive in the area.
There's been 4 attacks.
Why is the Pope going there? But that's a different conversation.
Yeah, we should actually cover that. But there's 4 attacks. Like, I think 3 of them were after this. So the Iranian militias are not stopping. They're like, oh, there's no... What did he say?
No imminent threat. If there's such an imminent threat.
This is like that cartoon where that dog is like in the house on fire. I say, this is fine. No imminent threat. They're attacking you right now as we speak. Oh my God.
This is fine.
This is fine.
Some sort of direct imminent threat. If you're afraid of attacks against our people in Iraq, get the fuck out of Iraq. Why are we still there? Why are we still there? Shouldn't be there.
Oh my God. They want Biden to do everything like he's been 1 month. It's been a month. Again, if he okay, so whether you agree with Biden leaving Iraq or not leaving Iraq, he promised that he's going to leave Iraq. Okay, so if he doesn't reduce American presence in Iraq, that could be at some point used as a way to mention justifiably another failure by Biden to keep his promises, right? But it's been a month. It's been a goddamn month.
Since 2003, been in Afghanistan since 2001. We've allied with...
You know, again, Afghanistan, if you leave, there's good points for leaving Afghanistan, but come on, there's also good points for staying in Afghanistan. It will be a freaking massacre. Like, the Taliban is going to take over. The Taliban is going to take over Afghanistan, right? I'm not saying that means that the United States should stay in Afghanistan, but just know that that's going to be what's going to happen. Like, just give the counterpoints to your audience.
Warlords who have child sex slaves.
Yes, those warlords that have child sex slaves, Kyle, they're going to be ruling over Afghanistan if the United States leaves. You're going to be gifting Afghanistan to them.
And we have the nerve to turn around and say we're doing this stuff for morality or because we're the world police? No, not true. Total bullshit. This stuff has to stop, and it has to stop now.
Hey guys, if you're a fan of blasphemy and sexy Kali, like me, then that means that you probably want more blasphemous art. Well, I have good news for you. If you subscribe to our newsletter, link in the description below, then you get a free booklet of some of the tastiest blasphemous art available today. So if you want some of this delicious blasphemy, and we're so generous that we update it for you guys weekly for free, all you have to do is sign up for our newsletter below. You can also go to blasphemousart.com/ebook. That's blasphemousart.com/ebook. Sign up with your email, and you get free gifts of this tasty blasphemy. What could be better? So make sure you sign up. Link below.